I think some of my favorite Citizen Brick releases in the past year have been their ones for conventions for their events that they've been doing. This time around, it is for New York Comic Con again, but these don't feel as New York themed as last year with the Pizza Rat and Times Square Elmo and all that. This one is probably the closest to being an actual New York minifigure. Of course, the convention enthusiasts being cosplayers can really fit into any convention, and the Edward Scissorhands one over here is pretty much an outlier where it really should have been more of a Halloween minifigure than a convention exclusive, but it is what it is. All three of them had their specially designed card for the clamshell packaging that they did, like they usually do. Goth landscaper for Edward Scissorhand. You got the shrub, bush, whatever you want to call it, in the background there. You got Jabba the Hutt in the background for the Slay of Leia dude right here. So it's kind of interesting to see him put a copyrighted image like that on packaging. I guess they're not worried about Disney anymore. And then you get a little bit of graffiti and all that to go with the graffiti enthusiast there. On the back of them, though, all these minifigures are pretty much going to be the same other than the name changing and, of course, different fonts for each character. Looks like the convention enthusiast one just has NYCC 2024. Here's sliding overs. Sorry about that. You wanted to read them, but each one of these basically just has a quick little write-up about Citizen Brick as a company. All the parts are official Lego ones other than the specially molded parts. And they're pad printed just like Lego. And with that being said, let's go ahead and check these out on the stand. To start with, I'll just go with the one that I feel like is the weakest concept-wise. I would definitely say looking at it in hand, the printing isn't bad by any means. It's just one of the stranger convention minifigures that they've done. You know, they did like the Batman one, the Spider-Man one, and then they did the Star Wars one now. So I guess it makes sense to kind of get through all of the big three, I guess, of conventions, being Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. Sure. And it's actually kind of funny to look at this. The detailing is pretty accurate to the suit that Leia wore. The only inaccuracy, I guess, might be like the brighter green on like the bikini part, which is fine. I know this is accurate to some of the costumes out there probably. You get the loincloth, you bend the legs. There is some more dark red actually, so that's kind of nice. You do have some ability to articulate the legs in some way without breaking up the printing immediately. I do actually really like the facial expression here. I'm sure people will find some fun uses for guy with a big mustache, Mario. To me, it screams like Peter, like some character like that. Again, great print. Glad to have that. It is just really funny to see like the hair on the chest, on the arms. That's a bit different and unique. Sorry with the glare from the lighting, but you can see a little bit of that. Liking the metallic gold printing as well. The shine in that looks good. I always like metallic printing. That's the best part about pad printing versus UV is that it does actually get the ability to shine. It does have a green lightsaber, which I guess ends up being a bit canon since Leia has a green lightsaber, I'm pretty sure, when she trains with Luke in The Last Jedi very suddenly. None of the more fancy lightsaber hilt though. You get the just straight light gray, unfortunately. No chrome, no slight shine that they use in the more modern sets. So kind of a goofy accessory to get, but makes sense, I guess, as a just random convention guy. I do like the hairpiece, though. I think this is from like the CMF Dino Hunter minifigure or something like that. Maybe in a bunch of other stuff now, but you get the ponytail, not inaccurate. And while we're talking about accuracy, I do have the Jaka version of the official suit. And you can see, ooh, line it up so they're both in focus. This one's pretty dang accurate, especially compared to like the 2006 Lego one. The only difference is like some of the stuff is exaggerated, like the armband being pretty big compared to the more screen accurate one probably. But the arm bracelet's honestly the same on both of them. Back's going to be way different. I think this is where one of my favorite Easter eggs is. If you pop off the hair, or at least move it out of the way. You can see on the strap there, you get a tag as well. So that's kind of fun. More hair just at the top of the back, not in the lower back. So that's interesting. Maybe that's just where they can't reach. And you get an additional strap. So it would go around the neck and, of course, around the back. Not accurate to the actual design, like I just pulled up, where it is more of like a cross strap situation, but who cares? Not a lot to say here. It is kind of nice to get some printed flesh legs. I'm sure I could do some fun caveman stuff with a loincloth, so that could be fun and exciting down the line. Arms are going to be pretty unique, and I'm sure you could figure out like some gladiator uses for these or something like that. And the face print is fun. I do really like the facial hair on that. But that's kind of it for the minifigure. No secret printing or anything like that. And with that being said, let's go to the next minifigure, which is the only one that's like a straight IP minifigure, being Edward Scissorhands here. Again, with the metallic printing, you get some silver, you get some printed gold. So lots of shiny to this one. Do like the hairpiece here. And this is the hairpiece I would use for a Lego Dream minifigure from Sandman. Did buy that for Morpheus. So that's something I've been keeping an eye out for different parts for that. The face is kind of nice with some light pink around the eyes. It's like eyeshadow, I'm pretty sure. And I do like this face for like Metamorpho or something. That might be a good use for this. You get two molds here that are mirrored. It isn't just the same one, I don't think, of these scissor hands. So those are kind of cool pieces, very reminiscent of the ones that they did for Freddy Krueger, but of course, you know, the actual scissor parts at the end. I'm just gonna quick change the focus so we can get a better look at these as I rotate them. But yeah, great craftsmanship here. There's a couple of different pairs of scissors on top of each other. You still get like the hand loop there. Let's see if you can actually clip something in there. I'm gonna say no. You can squeeze something in there. I would be worried about that though, so maybe don't. But you can for a quick photo, I guess. Yeah, I just really like the scissor handle sort of shaping there. Looks nice, very ornate. And getting to the other side, it'll be a little bit of the same. Yes, smaller holes. But very cool piece, honestly. Like I said, they should be two different molds, not the same one. Yeah. Just double checking my work. Want to make sure I'm accurate there. So it's nice to see them do the different molds here. They did end up doing that with the two-headed Freddy Krueger. So it's nice when they don't just take the one, put it on the other hand, call it a day. Put an extra work in here for that. Definitely appreciate it, like I already said. And a little bit above and beyond. Looking at the side of the legs, there is some printing on the hip as well as the leg with more studs and strap type pieces. A little bit of unbalanced and not symmetrical printing on the legs, which is nice. Or it does end up just being that dark bluish gray printing going all the way around for some different fabric pieces being sewn together, and of course all the straps. And tons of studs and buckles all around. Same goes for the arms, which is cool. More straps and buckles on both sides. This one only has one. So again, lots of asymmetry here to make it a more interesting minifigure, and ties into the movie where he is kind of tossed together. Not a super neat suit or anything like that. So accuracy there. Not going to be anything on the back of the minifigure head since Citizen Brick doesn't do two-sided heads very often. So as to be expected, just the face on the front. When you bend the legs, there's not really any printing to be broken up, so no worries there. And they also don't print on the inside of the legs of their minifigures, so not a detail to expect from these, but everything on the outside is really cool. Honestly, wouldn't expect this one to be so detailed with the wraparound, basically 360 printing with arm printing and side leg printing. They're doing a lot of that, especially on the legs. I feel like printing on the four sides has been pretty common the last year. Good to see that. And they're just pushing themselves to keep putting out the best products. So got to commend them for keeping on that and just giving us the best products. If you're a fan of the movie, I guess you would definitely want this minifigure. For me, I have been collecting pretty much all of their horror adjacent figures. So had to get this one. And I guess I'm kind of a fan of Tim Burton, so why not? And we got one more minifigure after this one, which I would say is my favorite, probably most people's favorite from this release, being the Graffiti guy. Lots to unpack here. I'm definitely not going to pick up on every little detail on the minifigure. It does come with a cool accessory, being this spray paint bottle with a custom molded nozzle at the top there, so that's kind of a cool thing to get. It has a hole in the nozzle as well. I've seen a prototype of that where they went a different direction, but I think this definitely looks cool. And I was surprised it is just a stud, or anti-stud connection, I should say, on this. And then on the inside, there's a little CB on the mold. That's something that they usually do on their custom molded parts and gives them a little bit more brand recognition, I guess, or just as an Easter egg. Very fun to see that. The spray paint can is going to be typical of a lot of different spray paint cans. I'm sure it is based off of a specific brand. I definitely can picture it in my head of what it would be. You'd see it in Walmart, not a special brand that you have to go to a specific store for. You'll see that all over the place, in media and all that. I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to the one that Miles Morales uses in the Spider-Verse movies, if I'm remembering right. Either way, if I were to draw a logo, this is kind of the one I would kind of picture for that. Very cool accessory. And of course, this ties into the overall minifigure being a bunch of graffiti on a minifigure. Like I said, lots of detailing around this. Some Easter eggs, obviously citizen brick going across there in the green and the magenta. So most obvious one there. Getting that back in focus. I know on the side of the head it says ipsum, like it's lorem ipsum, which is like the default text thing that gets entered to test a font or like Word document. So that's kind of fun. You got Shemp, whatever that means. This one's a little questionable here, where it starts with an F, ends with a G. Hopefully it's an I in the middle, but I don't know what's going on there. That's a little too close for comfort. I know people are kind of upset about some other stuff that they've typed or made, which is similar to that, so that's kind of unfortunate. You get Smeg, Clum, something or another. There might be another middle letter there that's blocked. So it is tough, like especially in the back of the legs, where there's printing over where the gaps are. Kind of hard to fill in the gaps there of what it's supposed to say. Sipper? Yeah, but what a crazy feat of engineering they have here for printing. If you saw as I was twisting it around, the head actually has complete wraparound printing, which is something I've pointed out in different reviews that isn't something that they usually do. There's usually a little gap on the sides. He talked about in the live stream that he used Pi, figured this out, which is hilarious. And what else is there to say about this? You just got great printing all around. I mentioned it in the previous figure. They don't print on the inside of the leg, so there's nothing there. But other than that, you got arm printing, you got side torso printing, which isn't something that they always do, but they have had some figures with it. And it's kind of interesting to see that the side of the torso and the arm, for the most part, seems like they kind of have the same printing on both of them. Maybe the other side more than this side, but that way, when it is down, it still gets the letter and doesn't break up the design, which is nice. Good to see that they're thinking about that. And a very beautiful figure. He talked about in the stream that this is like his greatest figure. Could definitely see why. I guess point out it has the neutral face on there too, so it is a very citizen brick minifigure. And will tie into things like the Tattoo Enthusiast or the Visible Man, where just a lot of great printing on a minifigure. Glad to have it. Let's go to the final comparisons and the final verdict. And that does it for another Citizen Brick comic convention collection of minifigures. Lots of unique designs, like all the other ways that they have done. You know, what I'm looking for, great printing. And sometimes with a very cool IP character, that definitely does it for me too. Whether it was the Operation guy from the last one, or just unique designs like the sketchbook minifigures from the last wave, in addition to the obviously new Graffiti minifigure, which definitely has some of the best printing that Citizen Brick has done. Very wide variety of colors on all the different parts. I'm sure that was a real process to go through. Definitely worth it to have it in a collection. The molds for Edward Scissorhands, definitely think those turned out pretty well. Metallic printing, like I described, always looks cool, and I think this head would be very cool to throw on a bunch of different characters if you want to use that for photos. I definitely think that'll be helpful. Getting to the convention enthusiast, this is probably where I would say, again, the weakest minifigure out of the three, of course, but printing on it looks nice. No complaints there, but not something I would really want in my collection necessarily, but as a somewhat completionist, picked it up just because. But face print, definitely the best part of it. Arms could probably be used for different characters for different scenarios, but the torso is a little goofy, same with the legs. I guess that would have more utility on the torso, but yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It works. And of course, you know, it does fit in with the rest of them that they have done. So good to see them there. But it is kind of weird to have 3 male Comic-Con goers, I guess. And then the one in the outfit classically worn by a female is also a male. I don't know. I get it. It's funny. Haha. But it's a weird choice. I feel like I would have rather seen any other character. Like, it'd be fun to get another Star Trek minifigure or really anything else. But it is kind of funny, again, to compare a much more detailed, much more accurate version of the Princess Leia outfit to this more parody version. Very cool to be able to see those side by side now, obviously. But yeah, let me know, out of the comic convention minifigures, are there any that you really like? I know I was really high on the Times Square Elmo last year. Still stand by that. And it's just great to see them putting out more variety and partnering with them several times to put out more creative minifigures like the Graffiti one as well as the sketchbook ones. If you want to see more Citizen Brick reviews or custom Lego videos overall, check out all the content on my channel. I have been Brick Gradiop, and I will see you in the next video.